Welcome to this fan-requested comparison. Richard Kong Braille at Pam requests Roelly Winklaar Arnold Classic Australia 2018 versus 2018 Mr. Olympia. Please, Mark. I like the manners there. And this is an interesting comparison, although right from the start, I will say, the lighting is a little bit different, but more than that, the angle of the cameras, which the pictures were taken, they're a little bit too low, I think, and off to the side slightly. So it looks like he's tilted thusly in the Arnold Classic Australia version, but we'll do our best. It is plain to see that he is fuller, bigger, I think. Well, I'm not saying bigger in weight, but just fuller. The muscles are more pronounced at the Olympia version. But he seems to be a little bit leaner, maybe slightly less body fat, and that happens when you come in very lean, low carb diet up until the event. If you do carb up properly, you won't carry any water and your muscles will look fuller and more vascular, which is the case at the Olympia. And he maybe have better condition, we'll find out when he turns around, but he just does not look as full and as vascular at the Arnold Classic. Judging by just this position, I would say the conditioning is more up to par for the Olympia, but this is just the first, so let's go into the muscular round, I guess. And this is not really a judging venture. We're judging him against himself to see which version is better. So each and every pose and position counts. It is plain to see, like I thought, he is much bigger and more fuller at the Mr. Olympia version. Look at the lats, the vascularity. But herein lies the confusion. He is fuller, but he is leaner. Look at the abs. There's no body fat on him at all. Might not be as vascular and as jacked up at the Arnold Classic, but look how lean that waistline is. And that can be more effective on the bodybuilding stage, depending on who was judging this. The more leaner versions, such as the Arnold Classic, usually would have the edge in the front lat spread, whereas the waistline is probably tighter and smaller. But like I mentioned, he is tilted thusly, and for the front lat spread, you really need to get right in front of the guy. And it's especially Roelly Winklaar. It's not his best pose at all. Going by these pictures, though, I would wager to say that 2018 would win. Of course, it's a picture comparison, but using all my hypothesis and figuring things out and things of that nature, if I was a judge and these guys were standing side by each on the stage, 2018 Arnold Classic Australia would be the winner of the front lat spread. I firmly believe. But hey, that's just me. The side chest and unfortunately the side tricep, as we'll see in a second here, are pretty much a write-off. He's posing at the wrong end. The wrong end. No? Nobody laughs at that. I think it's hilarious. Wrong end. He's showing one side at the Arnold Classic and the other at the Mr. Olympia, and we're not going on which display is better here or which picture looks better, because this is a version, which version is better. So we want to have the exact same angle, same lighting. That's just not what we have here. One leg looks a lot better there at the Mr. Olympia. Of course, his waistline, it looks thicker and more bulbousy at the Arnold Classic, which was not the case in the first few pictures, so it's probably the angle of the shot, but I'm not going to make any more excuses. Side tricep, even worse. I mean, you can't really gauge which version is better. And furthermore, if you know me and my judging, the way that this shot is being snapped, it really irritates me. It gets under my skin. I wish they would all just hit it the same way, so that way you could give it a fair judging. And this man, Roelly Winklaar, he's making this one popular. That's the way he hits it. The man has one of the biggest triceps in bodybuilding history. Jeez, what a waste. I wish he would hit it normal. Anyway, I don't really want to get into that today. I have had plenty of medication. Yes, the very first back shot. We're fortunate enough to have this Christmas tree pose, I guess you could call it. And I was right. Do you see there's a little spit of striations there in his Christmas tree area at the Arnold Classic Australia? He just lacks that a little bit, maybe too full, too many carbs. It takes from if you carb up just perfectly, it takes the proteins right out of your skin and makes it even thinner. But if you carb up too early, it can really go into your skin, and it looks like what happened there at the Mr. Olympia. But having said that, he has a vascularity level and a fullness that is far superior to the Arnold Classic. But judging by the Christmas tree pose, I would give it to the Australian, or Arnold Classic Australia version. Rear double bicep. We usually do this one last, after the rear lat spread, but I figured I would get this one out of the way. He really needs a posing coach, and I'm sure he had somebody right there with him at the Mr. Olympia showing him how to snap the shot, because he's doing a decent job, the angles and everything like that. But he just threw it together there at the Arnold Classic. He's leaning back way too far. The lighting, you can't see the lats, and it's oblonged. He really needs to perfect this one. But I'm not making excuses for the Arnold Classic Australia. It's not like I'm in love with this version. I'm being honest here. I think he's leaning back too far. It's creating some wrinkles in his lower back, because as we could see from the Christmas tree, he did have superior conditioning, but going by this one, Mr. Olympia all the way. But like I said, my hypothesis is that he really needs to display this one better to make it more effective. As you can plainly see by the tilting rear double bi, he does have a better conditioned lower back. There's more wrinkles in the Mr. Olympia version this time. Have a look at his delts there, his rear delts, his anterior deltoids, I believe they call them. In the Mr. Olympia, what's wrong with them? They're massive in comparison. Look at that. Could he have put on that much muscle? Perhaps there was some site enhancement oil. Who knows? Who knows? I don't like to speculate on that. Let's have a rear lat spread comparison. Same thing, of course, with the angles. A little bit different, a little bit off. The lats look better for the Arnold class, or for the Mr. Olympia, sorry. The Mr. Olympia, the lats look better. A little bit bigger, more vascular. But look at the lower lat insertions. More prominent for the Arnold Classic, but that is probably he's leaning back a little bit, takes from the lats, and it adds to the lower lats. His glutes look bigger and more conditioned for the Arnold Classic, and that's puzzling. But having said that, judging by the pictures alone, there's a better photographer, I think. And that's the thing, a lot of us YouTubers, we never give the credit to these photographers, and we really should. And one of these days I will give a video and express my thanks to all these guys. But anyway, Mr. Olympia, I don't know. Which one do you guys think's better? I'd go with the Mr. Olympia, I guess. Just because of the picture display, probably, though. Either way, both of these versions, two of his best, bar none. The ab and thigh looks fantastic for both versions. Now, oddly enough, the waistline looks smaller here for the Mr. Olympia. Of course, this is the next day of competition, I believe. We're using a different set of pictures for the ab and thigh. There was no ab and thigh for the first set of pictures for Roelly Winklaar. And he does look more lean here. He looks more dried out. But, I don't know. Lats look a little bit bigger this time for the the Arnold Classic version. These two are virtually the same, identical. Looks a little sleeker in the ab and thigh. I don't know. It's like splitting hairs, these two versions. Now, his most famous pose, more than likely, the most muscular. And, I don't know, they look pretty equal when you look at the legs, you look at the waistline, and then you look at the delts. And you think to yourself, what in the blue heck is going on here? I've been told before that he may have some site enhancement oil in those delts. And looking at this, guys, the Arnold Classic Australia was right before the Olympia. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that long before. He is not going to be able to build shoulders like that in a few months. But with one clever afternoon of oiling up, you probably can develop those delts. Boom, he snapped it in there a little bit better so we can really prove that it was not just that shot. Look at the delts in the Arnold Classic Australia. They look like shoulders. You can see striations. Looks like real delts. And then you look at the Olympia version. Those are balloons, my soul. Holy cow. I never thought I would say holy cow ever again, but this man is just pumped full of synthol in those delts. I can't believe I'm saying that. I always criticize people for saying that. And just for the record, I don't know what he has in those delts. 9 times out of 10, it is a different type of enhancement oil, and it's not synthol. But having said that, he may have went into the gym and just cranked on them shoulders for a couple of months. I don't know. I really don't, guys. But I'm sure I'll have some geniosos telling me in the comment section below just exactly what it is in his delts. And I will be reading these ones for sure. Having said that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. By default, I would give it to the Arnold Classic Australia just because of the delts. But before that, it was a tight decision, guys. 2 of his best versions of all time. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit a thumbs up. Hit a subscribe if you have not already. Have a great day, guys.